Hello, everybody. Today we are going to talk about preparing for the unexpected for solopreneurs. As a solopreneur, you don't have an employer sitting there ready to take care of you in the event that a crisis comes into play. So you need to make sure you're prepared. Make sure that you can survive a crisis, whether it is a financial crisis, whether it is a pandemic, as we're going through right now with a coronavirus pandemic, or whether it's a cancer diagnosis. We need to make sure that we're going to be prepared. Now, most likely, you're fine. But the reality of the situation is there's lessons to be learned from seeing things go on like they're going on right now. And so myself as a financial advisor have been going through different things such as this. And so I want to share some tips for you to make sure that you're going to be okay to make it through this and come out of this thing stronger. So, comes down to basically four major things that you want to be thinking about. One is your savings, two is your protection, three is your cash flow, and four is what I would call a pivot. Do you need to make a pivot? So I advise most of my solopreneur clients to try to reach for 6 to 12 months of living expenses in emergency savings. That way you know you can weather a storm. So when you get a chance, take a look at your emergency savings fund. How you doing there? Are there any changes that you can make to start to funnel money into there to protect you now and into the future? Next piece is going to be your protection piece. Your protection piece comes down to those insurance protection pieces that can protect you from financial ruin in the event that something happens. So we want to make sure that your goals are not derailed from a health event. So you need to make sure you have health insurance in place. I'm a big fan of high deductible health insurance plans with the HSA so you can get all the tax benefits from doing that. If you're lucky enough to have a spouse or a partner that can give you that you get health insurance through, then great. If you can choose the high deductible health insurance plan and the HSA, you might want to consider it. The tax savings are fantastic on the HSA, as well as the premium savings from going with the higher deductible health plan. Life insurance is the other protection piece that you need to make sure that you revisit as a solopreneur. You don't have any group benefits that are giving you some life insurance, so you need to make sure you have enough to protect your family and take care of things in the event that something happens. Short, sweet, and simple. I advise 5 to 10 times your annual income in life insurance protection. If you make $200,000 a year, you probably need between $1 and $2 million of life insurance. You can do a more thorough analysis, but short, sweet, and simple, 5 to 10 times how to do it. And then the other piece of the puzzle would be making sure that you take a look at disability income protection. In the event that you had a health event that left you unable to do what you do, you're going to want to revisit that and take a look and see if you have protections in place for your disability income. As a solopreneur, we have a tendency to forget about that one. It's something that you definitely want to make sure you take a look at. One of my clients just recently was diagnosed with cancer. And that cancer diagnosis originally had her considering having her arm and her shoulder amputated to prevent the spread of the cancer. Upon recent discussions over the last few weeks, we've found through a second opinion, as well as additional treatment, that she's not going to need to lose her arm and her shoulder, which is fantastic. But we were prepared. She had a fantastic disability income policy in place through work as well as outside of work to protect her. She's a medical professional and needed to use her hands. So this was going to be a major problem for her. So that's something you want to definitely revisit or take a look at and see if that's something that is within the budget. The other piece of the puzzle, speaking of budget, is your cash flow. Take a minute to look at your cash flow. How are your revenues coming in? Are they looking good? Do you see them continuing? Are there any major interruptions coming to you? As well as your expenses. Are there any expenses that you could cut? Are there software pieces you're not using, subscriptions you're not using that you could help decrease? The other thing is take a look at your current clientele, your revenues. Are you undercharging some clients when you need to get them back up to where they should be in your fees, and consider raising your revenues or your fees to those clients as well? And then the other piece regarding your cash flow would be to take a look and consider, do you need to pivot in a time of crisis? Do you have other services you need to offer to keep the revenues going? Do you need to do virtual training? Do you need to do virtual speaking? Do you need to do something that is going to then be able to keep the revenues coming in? It would be something you're going to want to consider. I've created a worksheet for you to be able to kind of walk through these steps. You can find it at gabenelsonfinancial.com/resources. And your big thing to take away from this is think about your savings. Try to work yourself to 6 to 12 months of emergency savings reserve. Think about your protection. Take a look at that. Think about your cash flow, and do you need to pivot? Thank you for listening. I greatly appreciate it. If you want some more information and want to check out my firm, go to gabenelsonfinancial.com. You can request a free consultation, sign up for my newsletter, and you can even go check out my podcast, the Solopreneur Money Podcast. Thanks. Have a great day.